Hi, good day. This is going to be a video response to Mimi Rose Rants. I think that's the right username. She made a video about the difference between goth and being emo, and it was a rant about people not getting it right. And first, let me say I completely agree with you, Mimi Rose, that one should not judge a person just by how they look. Bullying is shit. I was bullied a lot when I was in school, and it isn't right. And I definitely agree with you that people that just look, take a glance at somebody and then judge them, that's a silly thing to do. However, uh, there are two things in your video that I felt I had to respond to, and this is also why I'm making this video response, because I had more to say than would fit in the 500 character comments bar. So let me start with the thing I most disagree with. You said that the point of Goth, the essence of Goth, if you will, is being angry at the world. And I, and of course this is my opinion, but in my opinion, no, it is not. Now, being angry at the world, angry at the establishment, and so on, and that is more punk than it is Goth. And even that, even if you would use it about punk, it would be a very limited idea of what punk is. Goth is about finding beauty in the darker things in life. Now, included in that is accepting darker emotions. Goths don't have this idea that we should suppress all anger, suppress all sadness, suppress everything that is so-called darker emotions. But I don't think the lifestyle is about these emotions. But to me, goth is about basically three things. One, like I said, is an appreciation of the darker things in life because they are part of life, and some of us identify more with these things than the lighter things. Doesn't mean we're evil, it doesn't mean we're bad, it means that these are the things we identify with. I mean, when I was a little girl, I tended to identify with Disney villains rather than the heroes. I was always, I always thought that Maleficent, which is my favorite Disney villain, was a lot more beautiful, a lot more elegant than Aurora, who is the hero. And I always liked Ursula better than Ariel, and so on and so forth. I have always loved ghost stories, and basically, Goth is named for the Gothic literature of the Victorian era, and it is an appreciation of that which is dark. Another thing that is Goth is being a dreamer, if you will, of dreaming of a world that's more dramatic, more elegant, more romantic, if you want. And the third thing about Goth is an appreciation of the aesthetics of Goth. Whether that be the music of Goth, which the lifestyle, the modern, current lifestyle emerged from, or it will be the aesthetics mentioned in these Gothic literature, um, Gothic art, and so on. Those things are the essence of Goth, not being angry at the world. So yeah, that's my opinion on it. Another thing I feel about your video is that you say that the next person that calls you emo, you want to hit them in the face. And I think that is and I don't mean to be rude, but I do think it's a little bit of an unreasonable way to look at it. Because really, And as you know a lot about these lifestyles, it's not that easy to separate somebody who is emo, somebody who is goth, somebody who is a death rocker, somebody who is punk, somebody who is a rockabilly, and so on and so forth. There's a lot of these alternative lifestyles that, at least the aesthetics of them, merge. And now a lot of these alternative lifestyles has very different cores. They have very different philosophies. But the aesthetics, the clothes we wear, the jewelry we wear, are very similar. So that if you don't know exactly the details about them, they are not that easy to tell apart. And really, if somebody asks me, "Oh, are you a death rocker? Are you a punk? Are you a emo?" I say, "No, I identify as a goth." It doesn't bother me. Why would it bother me if they ask me that? It's the same as um I'm a neo-pagan, but I'm not Wiccan. I mean, Wicca is the most common thing. So people look at my pentagram that I very often wear and I say, "Oh, are you Wiccan?" And I tell them, "No, I'm an occultist and a pagan, and I base my rituals on Wicca, but I don't consider myself to be Wiccan." I mean, a person that is an occultist might go into a conversation with me, and therefore, because they know a lot about these religions, they will be able to separate one from the other. But somebody who doesn't will go by what they have heard. And again, you can't expect everybody to be able to have a look at you and tell you, say, she has to be a goth. Because there's of these, a lot of alternative lifestyles that sort of bleeds together. I mean, if you saw two people, both had dark Victorian clothing, could you say she's a Victorian goth? Well, she doesn't identify as a goth. She is a Victorian lifestyler. Could you separate that? Could you look at somebody who is wearing psychobilly clothing and say, okay, she's just rockabilly with a bit of a fascination for skulls, while this person is a goth? Could you, if you know nothing about the person? And yes, I do get the point of not putting people in boxes just by looking at them, but that's how our brain works. I mean, I see something on the table and I say, oh, it's a fruit. It's a piece of electronics. There's a cat. That's how our brain works. We put things in boxes. And so when people see somebody dressed like this, their mind go to the first group they know of that dresses like this, whatever that group may be. And I mean, why does it bother you so much that somebody calls you emo? Isn't it, doesn't it work then just to say, no, I'm a goth? And if somebody is bullying you for being emo, isn't it rather the problem that they are bullies, they are creeps, than really that I calling you emo? Because really, what is wrong with being emo? I mean, there's so many goths I know that are completely in a panic about separating themselves from emos. And really, what's the problem? They're happy with their lifestyle. I'm happy with mine. If somebody asks me, are you emo? I say no. Just as if somebody say, "Are you Wiccan?" I say, "No, I'm neo-pagan." It's as simple as that. You can't expect everybody to know your lifestyle just by looking at it. And since it shouldn't be that way that we, ideally, it shouldn't be that way that we put people in boxes, but it's what we do. It's how our brain works. So, sort of, in that regard, I say one have to live with it. You don't know everything about the person. This reminds me a bit about there was an interview with a black girl, and she said, "No, no, saying black, that's racist." And then the person interviewing her said, "Okay, how should one then describe you if you have to use a description like that? Could you say the dark skinned girl? No, no, racist." And then said African. No, no, racist. The only thing you could say was then, so saying African Norwegian, that was racist. You had to know the exact African nation that was her origin, Norwegian. But sorry, I'm not that familiar with the appearance of every person from Africa that I can look at somebody and say, "You are from Somalia, you are probably from Congo," and so on and so forth. So, what are you then to do? And this becomes a bit the same, that you get so upset that somebody says, "Are you emo?" When really they don't really, unless they know about these lifestyles, they won't know if you're emo or goth or anything else along those lines. And I mean, I've been a goth for, I would say, since I was born, because I've always had been quirky this way, but actively calling myself goth for 10, 12, I don't know, well over a decade. And I can't tell when I look at two people wearing the typical goth garbs, whatever or not they're emo, whatever or not they're goth, whatever or not they are rockabillys, whatever or not they are punks, whatever or not they're headbangers, whatever, what group they might belong to. So for me, I tend to just group people into, oh, somebody with an alternative fashion sense. Right. But unless you are very open and very into these things, most likely you're just gonna put people into the category of whatever thing you heard the most about. And it's not really much to do about that. And I really feel that going around and being angry about that doesn't really help, because it's not gonna change. And really, how big of a deal is it if somebody says, guesses that you're a part of the wrong lifestyle? Can't you just correct them? So yeah, that's my video response. I hope you have a great day, and blessed be.